Hand in the air. You have a question? Oh, question already. Meredith Unger, I'm the founder and CEO of Nix Bio Sensor. The problem that we're solving is for the 60 million athletes in the US who are compromising their safety and performance as a result of involuntary dehydration. And that's happening because athletes have no better way of managing their fluid needs than by guessing. We see this at the professional level, where the consequences can range from missing out on playing time and causing a loss for the team, missing the Olympic podium, and even death. You can imagine if we see this at the professional level, we see this even more frequently at the amateur level. In fact, field studies show that up to 80% of marathoners are crossing the finish line mildly dehydrated, which we define in this 1 to 3% range. This is causing an endurance performance impairment of up to 29%. It's also completely preventable with the proper tool. And so Nix is developing a power-free, single-use biosensor to support those athletes in understanding their hydration strategy in real time, the when to drink, what to drink, and how much to drink. We do that based off of chemical biomarkers in the sweat. We've calibrated our sensor in partnership with the Corey Stringer Institute at the University of Connecticut. They're experts in the physiology of dehydration. And what that athlete will see is a depletion effect on that sensor as they dehydrate, and that sensor, that optical visual prompt, reversing as they rehydrate. It's also going to tell that athlete the composition of their sweat, if they're in a high or low electrolyte loss range, and how salty a sweater they are. And that will tell them if they should be replenishing with water or Gatorade or some combination, some custom solution in between. We do this with our product that's based on a sensor platform out of the Harvard School of Engineering. We have 4 patents in that portfolio. We're about to file on a 5th, and Nix has exclusive worldwide rights to that portfolio. And the platform exists of 2 components. It's a responsive hydrogel and an embedded nanostructure. What that means is that our hydrogel is chemically tuned to pick up on that biosensor change, that biomarker change in the sweat. And it will expand and contract along that concentration spectrum. When it contracts, it acts like an artificial muscle. It actually physically moves that nanostructure inside. And that's what gives us the optical signal, changing a green cell to a black cell and back again. So we think of this as our MVP. Analog, single use, slap it on, go about your workout, have that full feedback loop, and then peel it off and throw it away. If we then add on that same stack an NFC coil, we can now get that data out of that sensor. And we think about that going from the individual athlete, predominantly an endurance athlete, the biggest market there obviously being running, and we can expand that to the team sport application. So now that data can be extracted from the sensor, it can be tracked, it can be stored, it can be analyzed by somebody else. If we now swap out that NFC coil for a Bluetooth chip, which is a very minor product modification, we now get football field range. And we can have one individual, a coach, a trainer, what have you, on the sideline monitoring an entire team. Nobody is doing this. There is no hydration sensor on the market right now. We do have competitors that are working on something similar. But we think about 3 competitive advantages in particular. The first is the form factor. A wristband, we feel, is the exact wrong way to go about this. The real estate on the wrist is occupied. If you are an endurance athlete, you are already wearing a wristband. Asking you to buy another one for $200 or so, or even more, very big barrier for adoption. So we worry about that for our competitors' sake. Secondarily, anyone here who's ever played a team sport, you know you can't wear that in field play if you're playing a contact sport of any kind. I played college basketball, I wasn't allowed to wear bobby pins. That's strict. Right? The second is our single-use model. This is something that really differentiates us. We're going for the low-cost, high-volume model, not the $300 wearable that gets thrown in a drawer 6 months later. The third is our biometric approach. There's really 2 ways to sense hydration. Sweat analytics, as we're doing, and bioimpedance, which is a notoriously noisy signal for any application, not just hydration. We've actually seen some competitors exit who were trying to go that route. We're all here because we know sports marketing works. So a quick little go-to-market about our influencer strategies. This is specific to our endurance strategy. So classic product endorsement. We know this works. We look at folks like Shalane Flanagan, 4-time Olympian. She's on our board. She just competed in her 4th Olympics last weekend in Rio in the marathon. Paula Radcliffe, now retired, but still the world record holder in the marathon. But we also look to somebody like a Teddy Bruschi, who obviously known for his career in football and now in broadcasting. He's also a marathoner. And his charity team, Teddy's team, runs the Boston Marathon every year. Non-athlete experts, really important. Race directors, medical experts, physiology experts like Dr. Casa, also on our board, advocates for sports safety, Corey Stringer's widow, and perhaps most important, product ambassadors. This comes in the form of coaches, bloggers, and very most important, other runners, because as we all know, the #1 influencer of athlete purchases is word of mouth from other athletes. So our timeline is aggressive, but realistic. We're down here sort of at the end of this first stage. We've got a prototype that works. For those of you that I was fortunate enough to talk to last night, we do have a prototype that works. We're spending the next couple months optimizing just that interface and that optical signal to make sure it is unambiguous and very, very simple and easy to understand. We've raised $450K on a convertible note to date. We're raising another $450 in the next month or so. We've got about 300 of that committed. We're hoping Stadia is excited about another 100K in there. We've accelerated our second product in terms of that NFC coil, that connected sensor, largely driven by really strong inbound interest from the team sports side. So we've been approached by 3 NFL teams, an NBA team, an NHL team, and an Olympic team, all of whom are really excited about this connected sensor. So we've accelerated that development as well. Probably my prettiest slide, and I'm sure you can see every number on this page. It's really just meant to illustrate a little bit more about the timing. So we'll look at our endurance, our base model, our endurance product launching late next year. We do think about seasonality for that. If there's a benefit for us waiting till Q1, late Q1, we'll do that. The second step being this team-based approach. Military, huge opportunity for us. We started developing those relationships as well with DIUX, which just opened an office in the Boston area as an interface between DoD and the startup community. I won't dwell on this, but we developed our platform to be just that. It's a platform. So we're looking at other applications outside of sports, outside of hydration. We're talking right now in advanced discussions with 2 Fortune 100 consumer brands that are looking at ways to leverage wearable technologies to build brand loyalty, to make personalized product recommendations. And the 2 areas that we're looking at that in are skincare and beauty and nutrition. So our team, my background's actually in the life sciences. So for the last 20 years, I've helped support startups. I've helped start several startups in the drug development medical device space. So my co-founder, Josh, brings a perfect complement of skills. He's got 20 years of brand marketing and sports marketing at Nike and New Balance. Ida Pavlichenko, our material science expert, she spent her life's work studying and designing stimuli-responsive photonic structures, which is a fancy name for our platform. And Jamie Nickel, who brings all of that wireless data capability in terms of engineering expertise. And like any good startup, we make sure we fill the holes in our team with expertise out in the field, ranging from engineering. Joanne is a world-renowned material scientist at Harvard University. Doug, as I mentioned, at the Corey Stringer Institute, expert in the physiology of dehydration and heat stress. Ian and Peter bring customer journey and consumer marketing expertise. Frank Busheen on the manufacturing side. Dave McGillivray, some of you might know, recognize his name. He's the race director for the Boston Marathon, has been for 30 or so years. Magda Goulet, in addition to being quite a talented athlete, including ultra-marathoner, she's also the VP of Product Innovation at GOO, which is that brand of fueling products that endurance athletes consume during their competitions. And Shalane Flanagan, who I mentioned earlier, four-time Olympian. And in the last probably 10 seconds that I have left, I just want to say a couple words about why I think a formal relationship between Nix and Stadia makes a lot of sense, particularly at this stage. The first is expertise. So we have really key goals in the next, let's say, 4 to 6 months that I think are really right in the wheelhouse of the folks at Stadia. A big part of that, you'll notice our pitch was largely geared toward the endurance community. That is because our MVP is sort of perfectly slated for that individual athlete. But we'd really like to build at the team side of our business, including representation on our advisory board from the team side of business of sports. Football in particular is a really high-need case. Retail relationships are very important to us. We want to start building these. Had some great conversations, even just starting last night. And it's never too early to start thinking about your exit strategy. I'm a recovering venture capitalist. I know the name of the game is build something that somebody wants to buy. So it's the sooner that we can connect with the network, the better on that. Second is timing. I mentioned this is things that we're trying to accomplish in the next 4 to 6 months. That fits our needs today. We're really ready to hit the gas on this. Capital has been really the one restraining factor in the sense that a lot of companies you've seen pitching this week are maybe a little bit farther ahead and perhaps have revenue. We do not. I think this is largely virtue of the fact that we're a product company. If I could incentivize my engineers with equity in ramen noodles, I would do that. Doesn't really work that way on the product side. But we do take it as a very strong interest that we've had so much inbound unsolicited inquiries from teams. The last is diversity. I look a little different from some of the other people that have been pitching this week. Because I'm a Patriots fan, obviously.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
All right.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I heard boos. I didn't see team allegiance on the judging sheet, so I figured this was safe. Joking aside, we're one of 2 hardware companies pitching to you this week. I think that's a really important trend as sports technology goes forward. Biosensing wearables has the capability to blow this world wide open, particularly as we start to see new metrics being introduced beyond just heart rate and steps and accelerometry. That's it. Questions?
So we got the microphones going?
Hey, so great presentation. I represent the Stadia Sensors. We're incredibly interested in a lot of this technology. I just wanted to give you more time. I'd love to hear more about the slide that had Kenza and a few others out there.
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit more about what separates you guys from the rest of the pack, because hydration technology is something that I can't tell you how many companies have pitched us on why we should be investors and/or customers.
Yep.
So I'd love to be able to, obviously, I'd love to be able to give you some time to explain what this chart means and why you guys are on the far corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you mentioned Kenzen. They are the #1 competitor that we keep the closest eye on. A couple things about Kenzen. They have a partially disposable model, so a more classic razor blade. So they've got a rechargeable sensor that clicks into a disposable adhesive. Their recommendations are that athletes wear this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The sort of tagline that I think Under Armour also uses is that athletes are athletes even when they're off the field of play. While true, that doesn't mean they want to be wearing sensors throughout the day. We've heard from a lot of teams. I'd actually be really interested in your perspective, actually, about how athletes feel about being monitored when they're not on campus. We've heard from a lot of people that that's not really something athletes are into. They don't want to know. They don't want the trainers to know if they went out drinking the night before. All that aside, one thing that we think Kensington's going to struggle with is figuring out how to go from the elite market down to the amateur athlete. As we said, we are a low-cost, high-volume play. 30 million runners is orders of magnitude larger than the professional market. There's huge opportunity there, but I think Kenzen is building more of this enterprise solution, whereas we're really looking at sort of these one single-use opportunities.
Question for you on the volume.
Yeah.
It's $1, high end of the mix of things that you showed in the placements. It's $1 per unit.
Yep.
Next year it was $1.1 million is the number for revenue, which implies $1 million plus units. So what's the go-to-market strategy for the volume of units side? And then as you go out to 2024, there were hundreds of millions of units.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, it does change sort of over the course of the iteration. I should mention that these COGS numbers are estimates, not at scale. This is what we are able to do today in the lab. So we expect these COGS numbers to go down and give us some more flexibility on the retail side in terms of pricing. That being said, we think as we kind of go out on this product progression, a lot of that is going to be driven by these pro sports teams where that retail price is a little bit higher. And a huge part of it being the military. One market we didn't talk about at all is the laborers market. So it's not a market we think about a lot, but UPS in Atlanta has 30 to 40 people collapse every year just from dehydration in their factories and out on their delivery routes. So these are the markets that we think about from a high volume perspective.
So it's the plan to then sell it in volume to UPS?
Yes.
Or again, they'll distribute it to the local teams as well?
Yes, within your own institutions, and the same model within the military as well.
And then you sell it to them at a wholesale price and they'll make money?
Yes, and those margins are factored into that revenue ramp that you saw earlier. Yep, all those margins are in there.
Hold on, Jeff. Let's get your microphone.
Can I ask you to expand a little bit on your comments about patent protection? Are they patents been granted or are they pending?
Yeah, the core patent has been issued as of Q4 last year. So the 3 finalists beyond that are continuations in part. I'm not an IP expert, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So the basic gist there is the core claims have been issued. We've got those 3 continuations, and we've got a new patent. We've started playing with what those nano embedded pieces look like. And so we've started filing some new applications on that.
Does your protection cover the biochemical analysis or the translation of that into the display of both?
Both. What it covers at its core is the apparatus itself, the use of a hydrogel with those nano-embedded components, and the use for all diagnostic applications, human and veterinary.
And you're a licensee and not the owner?
That's correct. Yep, standard academic license
For
from Harvard.
the life of that?
That's right. I'm also a co-inventor, so it makes it a little easier. I have a little bit more leverage.
And what kind of licensing fees or consideration?
Pretty standard. So we have a low single-digit royalty right now that we are tied to if we commercialize on that core IP with some of these new filings, especially as we move out of the Harvard system. We can now file that independently, where the assignee is Nix and not Harvard. So we can come, through an IP strategy, we can come to the outside of that license agreement. But for now, it is single-digit royalties, and standard in academic settings these days is single-digit equity in startups as well.
You mentioned that it distinguishes whether you need electrolyte or water, and I wasn't clear exactly how that happens.
Yeah, so what we're measuring in the sweat to begin with is the composition of sweat. So we can do that sweat analytics right then and there in that sensor. And because it's been calibrated, so the animation might make it hard to go back, because it's been calibrated to the relevant physiological range from 0 up to 350, and the osmolality, for example, of water is 0, in its purest form. The osmolality of most electrolyte drinks is in the 250 to 350 range. So we can give you a sense of what you're losing and what you should be replenishing with. There's obviously, some subtleties in that choice. Football players tend more often than not just go straight for Gatorade because they need calories and other things. Runners, it's a little bit more of a question. Who's got the mic?
Thanks, Meredith. Great job. Being probably the only ex-Wall Street guy, former banker in the room, I love your projections. Where did you find them? Where did you get them? And who on your board is the CFO? Tell me about your financial structure if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So the projections themselves were built from the ground up. So we did a top-down and a bottom-up analysis. We did from the sport teams that are out there in all of these different ranges, and did a very conservative cut from there. And then we built it also from the ground up in terms of retail channels and things like that will sell through, and how many packs per door per week we think we'll get access to. We've checked out with some of our retail friends. There's some other folks in here that I'd love to get their thoughts on. But we did build from both directions just as a good gut check. As far as who's completing that, it's primarily myself, but Josh, my co-founder, is also an MBA in finance, so he actually digs in really nicely there and has a lot of exposure to the retail channels because of his time at Nike and New Balance.
How long was he at both? Nike and then New Balance?
12 or 13 years at Nike and 6 at New Balance. You have a mic yet?
The mic. Guiding really looks to be really solid technology that we have here. My thoughts are more around strategically. Obviously, you have a very defined market you're going after now. I'm thinking strategic down the road and VC interest. Have you guys had conversations about the applicability of this beyond just the hydration piece?
Yeah.
You have the technology and with the remote medicine, and maybe elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. There was even an article this week, I want to say it was in TechCrunch or something like that, about all of these biosensing wearables companies going the medical route. 20 years in life sciences, I still have PTSD from the FDA, but it's a real market. I mean, it is. There's nothing saying that we won't go that direction. The elderly, massive market, struggles with dehydration, right? They actually lose their sense of thirst as we age, humans do. So we look at that very carefully. There's capital intensity there that can't be ignored. And for a startup, we like the idea of going a consumer market route first, bringing in some revenue, and then reinvesting that into a medical application. A big part of it's going to be driven by exit, right? So are we being courted by sports equipment and apparel companies that want to get in on the wearables game? Are we getting courted by medical device companies that want to get in on biosensing wearables? This is kind of the funny thing that's happening in biosensing wearables now is acquisitions are coming from everywhere, from Intel to Weight Watchers to Under Armour, and we have to try to figure out who are we trying to sell to. Another trend that we look really carefully at is acquisitions based on users, right? So this is how Under Armour is doing their acquisitions. How many users can they get to just purchase a marketing channel and keep those athletes engaged? So Short answer is TBD. We're looking at all of those options, the medical route, some of these partnerships with, one of the biggest health and beauty companies, one of the biggest toiletry companies, things that you would recognize. We're exploring opportunities with them as well.
Over here, two questions. Sorry. Have you spec'd out manufacturing? Do you have a partner figured out for that?
Yes.
And do you have a ramp plan? They have your prototype. They started figuring out yield on it already.
Yes, we have started down that path. We haven't done any test runs yet, so that's, as we raise that Series A later this year or early Q1, a big part of that will be manufacturing optimization and scale-up. We have identified a lot of those partners, so they can do some smaller test runs. What we would love is to understand who's going to be able to scale with us as we get really big.
Are they here? Are they in China?
They are domestic for now. Of course, we're always open to educating ourselves better about, who's best suited for that. A lot of the components that we look at on the NFC and Bluetooth side, probably going to be ex-US. Our game is low cost, high volume, so if we want to be competitive there, we need to consider that pretty seriously.
Another question, if I'm making the Under Armour, can you white label license that to me and I can bring it myself?
Conceptually, absolutely. Yeah, if the deal is right, absolutely. We're not really committed to building a consumer brand. It's fun, and startups like to do it. If the deal makes sense to do an OEM model, as we absolutely are doing on non-hydration-based platforms, those would be OEM models, we're open to that. We like the Intel Inside model. So
Where do you wear this?
yeah, as an endurance athlete, somewhere visible. So we like the hands, the arm, the wrist, not only because you need to be able to see it really easily, but we want everybody else to see it too. As a contact sports player, football player, you're not going to be able to wear that on your arm, so under the pads, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the last thing I'll say, but it looks like the form factor and the design, you could do a number of variants on this and actually make this kind of a little bit of a fashion piece as well.
Last question.
Thank you.
As an athlete, you go out to practice, you have a heart monitor, or maybe a concussion impact monitor.
Yeah.
It's very important that you sync those up and you wear the same one every day.
Yeah.
You have a number that's assigned to you, and then the trainer gets those results. So changing out every day, how do you go about monitoring that and make sure you have the right athlete with the right pad?
Yeah, so that'll be linked every day. That patch is linked every day, and every sensor has a different signal back to that iPad. So tracking Angela versus Dick versus Jack shouldn't be an issue. I'll know who is who separately. Your point about integration is key, and I think that's something that's really happening now in the biosensing wearables market. Everybody has to be integrated. We have to be able to integrate with all of the biosensing wearables that are doing output or work quantity. We have to be able to integrate with the traditional sports analytics platforms. At the very least, one study that's not been done that we are very excited to do is to track one athlete through multiple workouts, multiple dehydration events, to really understand, can we get some convergence on data for that one athlete? So I know if Angela and I go out for a run together in the same conditions, at the same pace, whatever, we're still gonna have really different fluid needs. But if now over a course of 10, 15, 50, 100 uses, I can start to converge on some data that makes sense for me personally based on conditions, intensity, duration of my workout, now I can start to be predictive. And that's where the real power comes from.
And that is it. You are off the hot seat. Good job.